Welcome in, Harbor Hawk fans, to another episode of Parking Lot Preview. Game 19, we're almost at the halfway point. That'll come on Tuesday. Matt Ford-Wellman, Mike Najarian. Big game here for the Harbor Hawks. Little bit of a slide, you could call it. A tie last night against Orleans, 8-8 in 10 innings. Mike, talk me through what that was.
Yeah, it was kind of a disappointing tie for Hyannis. Probably the vibe around this one was the lowest between the Chatham tie, the Harwich tie, and last night. Because, I mean, Hyannis, the offense, stormed out of the gates. They had an 8-1 lead after 4 innings. Kind of a disaster of a 5th inning. 5 Orleans runs scored, and then Tommy O'Rourke gave up 2 more in the 7th. Tied the game 8-8. Hyannis had their chances late in the game in the 8th and the 9th. Even the 10th innings, too. They had a pinch runner, Charlie Bates, on third base with 2 outs. Couldn't get him in. Game ended in a 8-8 tie. But Hyannis might have lost that game if it weren't for Matt Mira's incredible throw from left field in the top of the 10th to nail Orleans' automatic runner at home plate to keep the game tied with Ryan Speciak.
You definitely don't want to end up in a situation where you go, up 8-1. Now you're throwing out the go-ahead run at the plate. Those aren't situations you want to be in the same game at the same time. With that being said, ties are ties. I think the fact that Hyannis managed to keep it to an 8-8 tie, managed to keep the points on the board, that's definitely a massive plus. I can also imagine that manager Mitch Carricker is, expecting that, this team's going to be fired up and ready to win a game. He kind of had a talk with him last night, Mike. You were telling me about this and how, it's just kind of time to get it into gear. Hawks are now, 9-6-3?
Yeah.
That's a good position. You want to hit that double-digit win mark before the halfway point in the season, that's for sure. We're kind of looking at, a couple All-Star breaks right now. The MLB All-Star break is coming up soon. You look at teams trying to dial in for that. You want to get on the right streak. You want to get moving the right direction for that All-Star game, and I think that comes down to, every game leading up to it. Hyannis wants to win these next 2 games. If you can win these next 2 games, you can win the ones after. You can try to keep working, and you can try to, improve on that.
Yeah.
Mike, they're playing Brewster today. Brewster's a good team in their own right. What do they got going on?
Yeah, so Hyannis, we have Santi Garcia on the mound tonight. He's pitched 9 scoreless innings so far this season. He's only allowed 3 hits and 5 walks. He's struck out 13 hitters. That's second best on the team behind only last night's starter for Hyannis, Carson Yassa.
Yes.
Opposing hitters are hitting just 100 against him. He has a whip of 0.89. He's been everything Hyannis could have hoped for this season. This will be his first start. He's had a couple long relief appearances.
He went 4 innings, right? The last time he came out.
Most recently, 1 week ago against YD, the game that they walked off Hyannis 5-4.
Yep.
He pitched 4 hitless innings. Didn't allow any. 2 walks, 4 Ks. No runs allowed. He's pitched 2 1/3 innings in relief against Falmouth, 1 2/3 innings in relief against Bourne. He did pitch June 16th against Brewster, 1 scoreless inning, 1 strikeout, and a no decision. He's been. I think we've seen how the stuff plays in relief.
Yes,
it's looked really good. He even said it himself after the YD game. He really felt like he was getting good play off his secondary pitches in addition to his fastball, and now we're going to see that showcased in a starting role. And I think after having gone 4 no-hit innings in his last appearance, no reason to think he can't go 4, even 5 innings today.
That would be pretty good for the Hawks, especially they've had some trouble getting to that 5th inning with the starter.
Yeah.
I think about guys like Evan Blanco earlier in the season who were able to do that. Later in the season, that seemed to be kind of missing from the Hawks. And you almost have to wonder, is that an attribution to this a bit of a slide here, the starters not taking the roles they could do? On the other side, let's take a look at what Brewster's got coming in today, who they have on the mound. Tegan Coons, right-hander out of Tennessee, really, really good pitcher in his own right. He's going to look to be consistent today. He's going to look to try to get into some later innings against the Hawks. Mitch Carricker said it a couple weeks back. Hyannis has done a good job at taking out tough starting pitching early. If you've had a tough day, they're going to let you know. As of late, I would say that's probably still true. I would argue last night was a similar story where they kind of came in early swinging, got cold towards the end. Better pitchers came in for Orleans, and that kind of stalled the offense, you could say.
For sure.
But we're expecting to see Brewster, come out swinging, and Coons is a great pitcher in and of his own right. Last time out, he had 4 innings pitched with a win against Katuitt. 6 hits given up, only 1 run, that being earned. 5 Ks, no walks. The no walks is the big part I want to note. He doesn't have a walk on the season. And free bases are how the Hawks have managed to kind of extend their innings. Yeah. Might get some hits, might get some doubles, but those big innings have been off some free bases. And I think Hyannis is going to have to find a way to put pressure on the defense today because they're not going to get a lot of free passes from the pitching staff. They're not going to see a lot of hit by pitch. They're not going to see a lot of walks. Maybe Jackson Willits will walk once or twice because I haven't seen a pitcher be able to control him yet. We'll have to see.
Jackson Willits last night 3 for 3 with a walk and a hit by pitch.
Just about a Jackson Willits stat line, as you can imagine. And I imagine that he might even walk again today. He might be this guy's first, but that's really a battle I'm looking forward to, Mike. And I actually got myself excited for that one.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of big because it's also big for Hyannis to limit the free passes on the pitching side. That's another thing that kind of doomed them against Orleans. They were just in the 5-run fifth inning, and also to a lesser extent in the seventh. They just couple more walks than they would.
It's doomed them for the last couple games, Mike. That when they played YD at their place, the only 2 runs they gave up were off walks. It seems like if you cut out these free passes, Hyannis has a really good chance at being in every single game that they have lost or tied so far, except for the couple blowouts you might add.
Yeah.
And I think this Hyannis offense, particularly the bottom 5 in the order, are going to want to sit curveball. Deacon Koontz is a big curveball guy. He is going to throw the thumber often, early, and aggressively. And it's because he's so good at it. He was so good with it at Tennessee. I'm expecting to see. I watched some videos on it earlier. It's a pretty elite curveball from the right side. Comes from a good slot, tunnels well. I think that seeing that up is going to be the benefit. And I think the Hawks are going to have to do a really, really good job at staying disciplined on that curveball in the dirt, or they will get swings and misses.
Yeah, you mentioned the bottom 5 of the order.
Yes.
Looking to say curveball. If Hyannis can get that bottom of the order going, they should be able to win this game.
Absolutely.
But last night, the top of the order was great. Jackson Willits, as I mentioned, 3 for 3, got on base 5 times. Matt Mura, two hit day.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew Williamson went berserk.
Yes.
Triple shy of the cycle.
Oh.
3 for 4 with 4 RBIs. Mm-hmm. He was chugging right along.
Yes.
But then after that, outside of the 3-run homer by Brody Briggs in the 4th inning, you really didn't see much from the bottom of the order. Ray Velasquez and Gabe Camacho each had 1 hit, but then after that, really weren't seeing a lot from the bottom of the order. I think we got a little shift in the bottom of the order today. Mitch Carricker changing around the lineup a little bit. If they can get that bottom of the order going, I think we're going to see a Hyannis win tonight.
I think you can definitely also compare these 2 teams a little bit. Brewster, has those really good hitters, has, Josiah Ragsdale, has Braden Lawson, has these guys hitting over 500, hitting really incredible clips. So same with Hyannis, really guys hitting with incredible power, incredible dominance in a really, really tough league to play in. And then you also do have that other side of some guys kind of struggling to pick up some base hits, and that's something that they have to work on. And that's an interdisciplinary team thing. You got to kind of look at your team. You got to look at the lineup. That's what Mitch Carricker even talks about. He wants to move the lineup around. He wants to see who hits good behind other people. Matt Mura has done great in the 1 spot. Guess where he is today? Number 1. Yeah. Guess who's sitting behind him? Ryan McKay. We know that works. That's a system that works, and Mitch Carricker is saying that is going to be what we're going to live and die by in games we need to win. And I think that that's a strong thing for a team. I don't think that's a weakness. I think knowing where you want guys to hit, that's a strength. And I think sometimes coaches are a little hesitant to move guys around. So I'm curious to see what the lineups are going to look like today. I'm curious. We saw some pinch hitting opportunities last night. Maybe that was the extra innings. Maybe that was just kind of a manager getting a little giddy for a win. And I'm curious to see if we're going to see that again, especially if this game gets close.
Yeah, I think you could tell last night with having Charlie Bates pinch run for Jeff Lugie to start the 10th, having Ryan McKay pinch hit for Brody Briggs. You could tell Mitch Carricker really wanted that game.
I agree.
So I think as we're getting to the halfway point of the season now, I think as the further we get into the season, the more down the stretch, the closer to the playoffs we get, I think we're going to see Mitch Carricker deploy his bench more often. Because this was first time he's done it. Mm-hmm. Outside of injury-related situations, this is the first time he's done it all summer. So I think it's just the start in regards to bringing the bench in late in games.
What do you think Hyannis's kind of message to the team should be? What should Mitch Carricker's message to the team be right at this halfway mark, trying to get across that, that 10-win mark, trying to hit those double-digit wins? What's the message to the team?
Yeah, well, it's no secret that it hasn't been a great week for Hyannis. They've only won once. And I think just trying to, it's hard to say turn it around, but you really you do have to turn it around.
It really is.
To make sure this bad week doesn't spiral into a bad 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, you're 3rd, 4th in the West Division, and then you're jockeying for even a playoff spot. Mm-hmm. So, it really is just kind of moving on quickly. Today's a new day. Mm-hmm. And they're gonna, they're looking to get back on the right foot again after a tough one last night.
I think you said it. It is a new day, and that's kind of the difference in baseball. You have to wake up every day. There's a new game. Maybe you get an off day here and there, but for the most part, these guys have been playing back to back to back, especially as of late, 6 games in a row. It's hard to kind of. What's up?
It's Sam and Owen once again back there.
Yeah, no, our media crew just is nothing but distracting, but
Yeah.
it's beautiful. No, but if you get those 6 back-to-back games, it's tough. You know,
Yeah.
you lose a couple, it feels like the days are blending together. And I think separating that is going to be a good one. I like the vibe here, Mike.
Yeah.
I think Stony Brook's really nice. I like their field a lot. I really like the parking lot. We can even do an actual parking lot preview and maybe preview the parking lot for once. But I think the vibes are high. I think the tie leaves people feeling hungry but not discouraged. And I think that's the key. Is not being discouraged. It's going forward and trying to make something better of it. Mike, do you got any player of the game predictions? Maybe just maybe.
You know, I do.
Okay, let's hear 'em.
You know, Hyannis, obviously, they're going to be looking to get back on the horse tonight. Brewster's also going to be looking to get back on the horse after a loss to Katuitt last night.
Yeah.
A run rule loss to Katuitt last night. But,
what was
Hyannis,
it, 14-3? 17? 19?
19, I think.
I think it was 19-3. Oh,
but, Hyannis, they're also looking to get back at Brewster.
Yes.
Because in the 2 games played at McKeon Park this season against the Whitecaps, Hyannis lost them both.
Mm-hmm.
One was a close one not super close.
Mm-hmm.
But either way you slice it, they're looking to not only get back in the win column, but get one back at Brewster, too.
Mm-hmm.
So give me a Hyannis win today. I think it's going to be a close game. It's going to be a close game. These 2 teams are in very similar spots right now. Give me 5-4. 5-4 in favor of Hyannis. Player of the game, give me a new guy. Give me Sawyer Black. This is the outfielder from North Carolina. This is going to be his second start, Really liked what I've seen from him so far. He had a solid game against YD, if I remember correctly.
He did. A really good defensive game, made some good stops when he needed to, had a good offensive game, a lot of good battles at the plate. And I think that's what you want to see in a first game. Didn't make a lot of mental mistakes, really played the game right, played it hard, and looked promising. Those are my 3 big keys for Sawyer Black, and I think he has an opportunity to have a really good game. I'm going to take a bit of a different approach here, Mike. I'm going to say it's a low scorer here. I'm going to give it.
Okay.
I'm going to say 4-1.
4-1,
okay. They're going to get some extension. And I'm going to say Santi Garcia. I think he's going to have a really good day.
Okay.
I think you definitely got me on that train, Mike. He has had a lot of dominance. And I think as a pitcher, if your confidence is here and your ability is here, your ability will increase to your confidence level. It kind of works that way. And if he's feeling really good about himself, he might just pitch like he has house money. And, he just might in this game. That's kind of what Hyannis needs. And I think he'd have a really good one. 4-1, Santi Garcia.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's almost game time.
I want to hear people screaming this one from their houses. We got to get support for the Hawks going. I need to hear it through the screen. What are they saying, Mike? Go Hawks!